my channel. Welcome back to another video. I'm Jessie E. This is Ravenclaw, and you're watching. Every single June when Pride Month rolls around, I see the same exact types of patterns and I try to keep quiet about it, but this year I'm seeing the same pattern and I just can't take it anymore. So I knew I finally had to say something, which is why I decided to make this video about what really grinds my gears about Pride Month and also what bugs me about Pride in the book community. May 20th rolls around and corporations just roll out all of their LGBTQ fashion wear and their Oreo cookies. All of the queer folks get really excited and we're all like, yes, we're out, we're proud, we're loud, come sit and hang out with us. Ooh, but you're bisexual? Okay, not you. Oh, you're asexual? Sorry, our table is full. Ooh, you're trans, but you don't take hormones or want surgery? Sorry, my uncle's hamster is in town and it's down to clowns, so there's no room for you, boo. And somehow in the midst of all of this pride and celebration and joy, we both as queer people, questioning people, and straight allies forget all about the queer community that isn't the L or the G. Meaning that every year Pride morphs into this celebration of gay and lesbians and literally nobody else. Now, in case you are new here or you've been here on my channel for a while but don't know about my background, I spent about 2 minutes in the closet. I came out when I was pretty young. My mother kind of just raised me knowing that I was into girls and it was never really a conversation or a discussion. But in 2013, I came out as non-binary, and that was a little bit more of a struggle in my family, which means that Pride Month really means a lot to me because I get to connect with all of these other queer people who maybe did have to spend time in the closet, people who didn't have it as easy as I did with my identity growing up. And I really love being able to celebrate and have this beautiful time where we can bond and be visible and be seen and respected as human beings and truly feel like we're part of a community that loves and recognizes us. So in this video, I'm going to be talking to literally everybody because gay and lesbians are just as responsible for perpetuating this as our questioning friends and our heterosexual allies. And honestly, I'm having this conversation with as much love as possible because I think that we all have room for growth, and this video isn't made to attack anybody, but rather I just have to speak up on something that literally cannot be allowed to continue. As somebody who is trans non-binary, who uses they them pronouns, who is agender, I get a lot of questions on Twitter about my identity. People often tweet me and say, hey, what word should I use to address you as? How can I talk about you in a way that isn't gender? What does it mean to be agender or non-binary or NB? And while these questions can most certainly be overwhelming and exhausting, for the most part, I definitely don't mind them because I love that people are curious. I love that people are open to learning about somebody who just has a different experience besides themselves. And for those of you watching this video who don't know what non-binary means, it essentially means that you just don't identify with the gender that you were assigned at birth. For me, that would be womanhood. I am expected to refer to myself as she. I am expected to identify as a woman. And while I love women, I think they're beautiful and I've been attracted to them my entire life, I just never really vibed with that identity. It always kind of felt like somebody was trying to put a coat on me that was 2 sizes too small. And that's the best way I can describe what it means to be non-binary for me. So I get these questions and I do what I can to educate and uplift and kind of help people out as they struggle to understand what identities besides their own means. But it really breaks my heart when June comes around and we all upload all of these queer TBRs, and I'm seeing a lot of TBRs full of just male-male romance and female-female romances. I'm seeing a lot of TBRs that have just a lot of gay books, right? And I'm sitting over here in the corner like, wait, weren't you the person who was on Twitter asking me to tell you all about what it's like to be trans? Go pick up a trans book. Go pick up a book with a trans main character or an asexual main character. And I know this might be mind-blowing, but pick up a book that has bisexual representation. If you're one of those people, especially if you're within the queer community and you don't get bisexuality, you don't think it's a thing, you don't think it's real, maybe take June as an opportunity to educate yourself and learn more from the mouths of people that are bisexual. You are literally never going to understand somebody else's identity completely. It's simply not possible. We're only able to truly comprehend who we are, and the only way that we can learn empathy or any kind of understanding for somebody else's experience is to engage with it. That means meeting and hanging out with people that are bisexual or non-binary, who are trans, who are on the asexual spectrum, or reading books that have characters who represent those identities. And if you are consistent consistently picking up books that only represent identities that you know, identify with, or are comfortable with, you are absolutely never going to grow. Not as a reader, not as a person, not as an ally, and most certainly not as a friend. I absolutely love that Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is a male-male romance, is being hyped in the community. I'm seeing this book everywhere. It's on my TBR for July. I cannot wait to read it. But I'm definitely side-eyeing a lot of my Booktube friends who are constantly questioning what it means to be trans and asking me to educate them on what it means to be transgender, who aren't taking this time to pick up any books about transness or books that incorporate transness into the narrative. I also want to make sure that I say read whatever you want. I am not telling you that you need to go pick up these books or that you need to educate yourself if you don't want to. If you're happy just reading books about gay and lesbian people, then do you, boo. But just know that you are not celebrating the LGBTQIA community. You're not celebrating the queer community, and you shouldn't talk about these books as if they represent the queer community as a whole. To be honest, those gay and lesbian stories that you're so focused on hyping really only represent a very infinitesimal fraction of what it means to be queer and the queer community. Now, those of us who are a part of the gay and lesbian community know that we don't always do the best job of uplifting the rest of the people who are in our community. It's really not debatable that gay and lesbian folks received the most representation in terms of volume, right? It's easier to find representation for a gay and lesbian person, a gay or lesbian person in the media than it is to find representation for, let's just say, even a single asexual individual. Now, that does not mean that the representation that gay and lesbian folks are receiving is satisfactory by any means, because I personally see a lot of room for growth and improvement in the rep that we are getting. But I will say that there is so much power in just being visible and in being seen, and think about what it's like to be trans or non-binary or asexual or even intersex and to never see yourself represented in the queer community. We keep throwing around the word queer community, and we know darn well we're only talking about two identities. As you say queer community, make sure that you're talking about everybody within that giant umbrella. And also, people can house multiple identities within the LGBTQIA spectrum. You can be bisexual and intersex. You can be transgender and asexual. You can be gay and non-binary. Intersectionality exists, and so few of us are rarely housed just in one demographic alone. But it is absolutely impossible to see and recognize or even celebrate that diversity that we house as individuals if we're not picking up stories that represent as many people as they can. It is absolutely not too late to add some books to your TBR that are queer but still out of your comfort zone. You can find these books really easily by either doing some research on Google or Goodreads, or even just following more queer bloggers who aren't just gay and lesbian and looking at what they might be reading. I will be coming out with a video very soon giving BTQIA recommendations, meaning recommendations for books that aren't just lesbian and gay books. So look out for that video. It's coming very soon. But in the meantime, I hope that you will consider engaging with what I've said in this video, because to be honest, the erasure of trans, asexual, intersex, bisexual individuals and the like, we are all to some extent complicit in this erasure, and it needs to end immediately if we're ever going to have the healthy, inclusive community that we like to boast about. Personally, I believe in that community vision. I believe that that is a vision we can truly attain. We just have to work for it. We have to fight for it. We have to put our money where our mouth is and actually buy books that aren't just gay and lesbian narratives. Books that support the queer community as a whole. And before wrapping this video up, it's important to point out that violence against transgender women is at an all-time high in the United States and across the world. It is incredibly dangerous to be a trans woman. You are 8 times more likely to be murdered than somebody who is non-trans. We wouldn't even have a Pride Month if it wasn't for a Black trans woman named Marsha, who threw the first brick and started the Stonewall riots. So you are absolutely in no way celebrating Pride if you're only celebrating lesbians and gays. And that is all, folks. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. If you are new here, please like this video and subscribe. I would absolutely love it if you did. Thank you so much for watching. Stay sharp, and I will see you in my next one.